I'm Bob Peters, host of Salute, and I'm here at Gator Harley-Davidson in Leesburg. We have the traveling wall coming in, and I have the driver. Would you tell me your name, sir?
Doc Russo.
Doc Russo. And how long have you been doing this? And can you give me a little history about this traveling wall?
3 years full-time, 11 years total. It came into existence 11 years ago. The Vietnam and all veterans of Brevard over on the East Coast built the wall for their reunion every year. That they host the largest veterans reunion in the country, so we know we're going to have a wall at it every year.
Good. And how far have you taken this wall?
This wall's been to northern Wisconsin, where we've displayed it with the Canadian wall on the opposite side of the field. We go the eastern half of the United States. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you said you got the biggest rally going, right? And when is that?
It's the end of April every year.
And if they want to learn more about your group or your association, because you are a not-for-profit organization, correct?
Correct. The wall website's travelingwall.us, or the reunion website is floridaveteransreunion.com.
And you are a veteran yourself, but not Vietnam, you say?
Correct. I'm a younger era guy. I did Panama, Grenada, Lebanon, and the first Gulf.
You say younger, don't make me feel like I'm an old man here. I want to thank you for your service, and we're looking forward to seeing the wall when it's assembled. We just take a quick little look inside, and you can see all the different panels that have to be assembled. That will be assembled today on the 9th of November, and the wall will be on display starting tomorrow. So I want to thank you for bringing the wall around.
Not a problem, my honor.
We're here in Leesburg, Florida. We're getting ready to take off with the Vietnam Veterans Traveling Wall. I have two gentlemen with me. This gentleman is a Vietnam veteran, and you are with?
John Marcus with the DAV, Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 150 in the Villages.
And you, sir?
My name is Lowrider. I'm with the U.S. Military Vets Motorcycle Club out of Marion County.
Now, I understand you're the one who organized this run?
Yes, I am. Yes, I was.
And tell us a little bit about who all is participating.
We have a bunch of different clubs here. We have the Band of Brothers, the U.S. Military Vets Motorcycle Club. Intrepid Brothers are with us. The Nomads from the Villages are with us. And we have several other independent riders who will come out just to support this cause.
And you were during Vietnam.
Yes, I was.
I want to ask you, how special is this to you?
Very special, very emotional, especially that we have Veterans Day coming up. The traveling wall here at that time is going to be tough to deal with at this time.
All right, well, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for doing this little interview with me. I know we're getting ready to take off pretty soon, and you're going to take it down to Lady Lake, Rolling Acres Road, and it's going to be on display, right?
So this will be on display starting this afternoon. Opening ceremonies are tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and be on display Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week.
Well, and I know you're a veteran, right?
Yes, I am.
And when were you in?
I was in the Navy from 85 to 92.
Well, thank you for your service. And, brother, welcome home.
Yes,
and
sir.
You were in...
I was in 1969 to 73. I did 3 tours in Vietnam on riverboats.
All right. They're getting ready to rub up the bikes and head north down to Lady Lake, and we'll see them down there tomorrow. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bob Peters, host of Salute, and we're here today for a very special episode of Salute. We're here in Lady Lake at the soccer field where the Disabled American Veterans have brought in a replica of the traveling wall, and I have the honor of having a very special guest, Mr. Lieutenant Colonel Barry Bridger.
Right.
And I want to thank you, sir, for your service. I want to thank you for your time coming on Salute. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what people don't know, I should have probably mentioned this, that you were a prisoner of war for quite a while.
Well, yeah, everybody has to be somewhere, and
Yeah, I
that's where
guess,
I
yeah.
was. And the average was about 5 years for the POWs coming out of Vietnam. I was right at 6.5. John McCain was right at 5.5, for example. And the oldest POW, Alvarez, was up to around 9 years as a POW.
Wow, it's a long time.
That's a long time.
Tell me, where are you originally from, sir?
I am originally from the Carolinas, but I was adopted back in the when I was about in the 1940s, and I was adopted about the age of 5. And in those years, if you were not just a baby, you probably didn't get adopted. But I was adopted by an absolutely incredible family that imprinted upon me the values I've taken throughout my life and made all the difference in the world and how I feel about myself and my perspective on what's important in life. And what's important is not what you earn, but what you give. It gives you a fulfilled life, and that's what I keep trying to do.
So you went into the Air Force.
I did.
And you were flying
F-4 Phantoms.
The Phantom, yeah, that was a very popular one, and well, that was the plane.
Yeah, it was the mainstay fighter back in those days for the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't go very far. We put a bomb load on it, you can get out about 200 miles, you had to turn around and come back, or you run out of fuel. Nowadays, they've got aircraft that do, go all the way across the ocean practically with a bomb load.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Quite a difference, but that was the mainstream fighter of its time, and a good aircraft.
I would like to ask you about the day you got shot down, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I know some people don't like to talk about this stuff, but
Doesn't bother me a bit.
I'll tell you what. We talked a little bit beforehand, and you said Captain Charlie Plum is a friend of yours.
Absolutely.
And I can relate. Well, I can't relate really, but I have read his book, and I'm in awe of what you men went through at the Hanoi Hilton. But tell me your story about when you went down, and a little bit about the Hanoi Hilton, because I have to be quiet.
I was finally allowed to fly a daylight mission. I was a night fighter. Flew all my missions at night. Very challenging and a real difficult activity. However, every fighter pilot wants to fly in the daylight so they can gauge a MiG and shoot down a MiG aircraft. And our commander at the time, Colonel Robin Old, now deceased, great aviator, great fighter pilot, had dreamed up a concept to suck up the MiG-21s out of Hanoi. They had about 12 or 14 MiG-21s, which was the top Soviet fighter of its era. And we were trying to pretend we were F-105 Thunder Chiefs coming in for the daily bombing run, the milk run for the day, but we were really F-4s loaded with air-to-air missiles. And we used 105 call signs, and we were trying to trick them into coming up. Now, we had flown that same mission about a month earlier called Bolo 1, in which we shot down 7 MiG-21s with that trick. And we figured they'd forgotten what we did, so we were going to try it again. So I got selected to go on Bolo 2. But unfortunately, the weather was layered from every 1,000 feet up to almost 20,000 feet. And our flight leader was out of the Pentagon, and he was inexperienced, and he was flying us about 4,000 feet above a deck of clouds up at about 20,000 feet. You don't want to do that in an surface-to-air missile environment, because those missiles are moving at like Mach 3 to 4 coming up, and you only have a split second to dodge because they come out of those clouds so fast. We really need at least 7,000 or 8,000 feet separation, but we only had about 4. We also were carrying what they call the QRC-160 pod, which jams the guidance signal of the fan-song radar that guides the missile. My pod wasn't working. Now, they told us if your pod doesn't work when you turn it on, fly up next to your element leader, and his pod will jam for both of you. 6.5 years later, when I came home, the scientists told us, if your pod does not work, do not fly up next to your element leader. You double the reflected energy, you'll be detected and shot down. And I'm going,
Minor detail.
If you can't take a joke, don't fly fighters. That's all I can tell you. So anyway, that's how I was hit. I was hit by a surface-to-air missile that came out of the clouds. Actually, the one that hit me, I didn't see. They were firing multiple missiles from different sites, and the Soviets were doing all the firing. I dodged the one that came out front and told the rest of my flight to dodge it left. I called out the missile. I said, Sam's 10 o'clock low, break left. And everybody broke left, but it was a missile coming in the back seat. I got nervous and sensed something was wrong, and I flipped upside down, and when I pulled, the missile went off. It blew the tail off, it blew one wing off, it blew half the other wing off, and all of the lights in the cockpit lit up. Now, I had never seen all of the emergency lights show up at one time, but they all showed up, said, you're low on oil pressure, you need to service your hydraulic pressure. You're on fire, your right engine is gone, and there was one caution light that came up I had never seen that said, you're in deep kimchi. I'm kidding, of course, but anyway, I then bailed out and actually landed almost in the prison in Hanoi. So, welcome aboard.
Yeah. Like I said, reading the book, you were tortured like unbelievable, huh?
Our experience was one of torture, as opposed to deprivation, i.e., although we didn't have a lot of food at times, we never suffered like the Bataan March where people were dying from malnutrition, and even when they got into the camps with the Japanese, although there was a lot of harsh, brutal treatment, there was also a lot of deprivation and not enough food, particularly in the Philippines and various areas of combat. Mm-hmm. But in Vietnam, we, in general, got enough food to keep our body weight up. I weighed about 158 pounds when I shot down. I went down to about 114.
Wow.
But you could have done a lot worse than that in some of those Japanese prison camps.
Oh, yeah.
Or Korea prison camp.
In Charlie's book, and you say you're a very good friend of him, he told me, and I read about, all you guys were prisoners of war except for one guy that they considered rescued, a Navy guy. You remember that?
Oh, Doug Hegdal. Doug Hegdal was a Navy seaman on a ship in the South China Sea who walked up on the deck of the aircraft and fell asleep and rolled off the ship into the ocean.
But he had an amazing memory, according to Mr. Plum.
He floated in, and the North Vietnamese picked him up and put him in our prison camp. Well, we got him to memorize all of the names of everybody in all of the camps. And he pretended he didn't know what he was doing. He was just kind of out of it type of an individual. And the North Vietnamese saw a chance to make some political hay. And so they released him, not knowing he was walking out with all the information you could possibly imagine. And he passed that, of course, to our intelligence folks and to our families and whatnot. And it was quite a treasure trove of good information that we needed desperately back home.
Yeah, and I understand he remembered a lot of the phone numbers of the families.
Oh, absolutely.
And he called the families to tell them. I mean, that's
photographic memory, and he just absorbed
amazing.
everything. Yeah, that was quite an interesting story.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show and talking about some of your experiences there. And I, like I said, I'm a bit of a history buff, so I've read quite a bit about what went on there. But can you tell me about the day that you finally got out of there? I'm sure you remember it.
Oh, yeah. We came out in waves in order of shoot down, although the first flight that went out was the sick and wounded. That was what we negotiated through Henry Kissinger. And then we were supposed to go out in order of shoot down. Mm-hmm. The Vietnamese played a little trick on us with the second wave of aircraft to go out. And they decided to release a bunch of us out of order. Well, we refused to go. And it created an international political incident for Henry Kissinger and our foreign policy, because the word we got back from one of his emissaries was, "Are you kidding me? They're going to let you go home and you're saying no?" And we said, "Yep, we ain't going, except in order of shoot down." Well, they sent a guy into the camp to talk to all of our senior leaderships, and they negotiated a deal. The deal was this one time, we would make an exception, but never again. So they better be in order after this. And so that wave went out of order, and after that, they did stick to the rules, and we came out in order.
And from what I understand, though, there was a kind of a reason you guys wanted to do that, because you wanted that Navy guy out of there first.
Well,
know.
Doug Hegel had been previously released.
Oh, okay.
And that's why he took
Oh.
all that information out with him that we
Okay,
needed.
so he was
desperately.
gone before
He
you.
was already gone, that's right. He
Yeah.
almost probably at least a year maybe or so in front of us that he was released.
Well, I thank you for your service, sir, and it's my pleasure and honor to meet you. And it's a beautiful day here in Lady Lake, and this wall is very nice. Eh?
This is an incredible event to honor our veterans, and especially with the wall to honor our Vietnam veterans. And it is one of the most impressive scenes I have ever witnessed. I myself have not seen the wall in D.C., but I have seen the traveling wall. It is right here in front of me. I leave your viewers with this thought. The question I have encountered the most often about the American Vietnam POW experience is, what, pray tell, would I have done under the brutal pressure of the Hanoi Hilton? The answer, of course, would have been predetermined by the values you brought to the fight. We Americans are what we value, and you will take out what you took in. If you therefore enter into a period of great tribulation in your life, and you tend to be focused on yourself, you're very likely to come out even more self-centered. On the other hand, if you enter into a period of great travail and struggle, focus on ideas that are more meaningful, more lasting, and ultimately more human, like faith and family and friends and service to others, and doing those things you cherish that are truly worth remembering, you're very likely to come out with a deeper, more profound commitment to those enduring life principles and become the best person you can be.
Very well said, my friend. And before we go, and you talk about the American spirit,
I do.
what about those men and women? Less than 1% are serving in the military today. We can't say enough good things about them.
They need our support, and the way they will receive our support is for all of us to speak loud and clear to those that represent us in the halls of Congress and tell them what we think about our military men and women receiving the support and the health care that they deserve.
I agree wholeheartedly. I'm going to add one other thing. There's a lot of organizations out there that are trying to make a difference. So I'm asking all the people out there watching this, if you don't belong to an organization like the VFW, the American Legion, or if Project SOS or some other organization that takes care of our active military and veterans, remember there's only 1% fighting. The rest of us, we need to be there for them.
And we welcome all Americans to join our organizations
And
with open arms.
And today, you know, we're both Air Force, but today is the Marine Corps League, so happy birthday, Marine
Happy
Corps
birthday to the United States Marine Corps.
League. Yes, sir.
About half of the guys up there were Navy and Marines, and the other half was Air Force.
Well, we got the best right here. Anyway, thank you for coming on the
Thank
show,
you,
sir.
Appreciate it.
And I want you to join me. I have a send-off that I do all the time, and it goes like this. To all our veterans out there, our active military and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming